Good evening. Good evening. I would like to take this time just to call to order today's September 7, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors meeting. I would like to welcome those that are in attendance as well as those that are at home watching and streaming. I also want to take this time, do recognize that City Director Ken Richardson is with us virtually as well. Madam Clerk, if you would, please call the roll.
Director Hendricks, Director Richardson,
Here.
Director Webb, Director Peck,
Here.
Director Wright, Director Wyrick,
Present.
Director Campuris, Director Phillips,
Here.
Director Adcock,
Present.
Vice Mayor Hines,
Present.
Mayor Scott.
Present. I will now take this time to recognize City Director Kathy Peck with the invocation.
Thank you. Today is Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the Jewish New Year, one of Judaism's holiest of days. And I believe there's an important message for all of us, regardless of your spiritual tradition. According to Jewish tradition, God judges all during the 10 days of awe between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. The names of the righteous are inscribed in the book of life. Rosh Hashanah is a time of personal reflection. We reflect upon goals and wishes for the coming year, which is not unlike what many of us do on January 1st, the secular New Year. We make resolutions to lead a better life. It's a time of introspection when we take a look back on mistakes we made, people we've offended or wronged with words or actions, and we make amends and atone for those wrongs. We dip apples into honey to symbolize our wishes for a sweet new year, and we eat round challah bread to symbolize the circle of life. This year, during Rosh Hashanah, I reflect upon our city. The challenges we have faced in the last 18 months have changed lives forever. We're still in the middle of a ferocious surge, and my heart breaks for our healthcare workers, our first responders, and those families who've lost loved ones during COVID. I do believe that we, the city board, share the goal of making our community the best place it can be for all of us. My prayer is that we work together to move Little Rock forward in a spirit of mutual respect and compassion. Lashana Tova, everyone, which means good, healthy, prosperous, happy new year. And with unity, let us say amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, City Director Peck. We'll now stand for a pledge of allegiance. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read the consent agenda.
The consent agenda consists of a motion to approve the minutes from the May 18th, 2021 and June 1st, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors meetings and the May 11th, 2021 Little Rock City Board of Directors special called meeting. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with J.A. Riggs in an amount not to exceed $73,737.37 for the purchase of one Trail King trailer for the Parks and Recreation Department and for the purposes. A resolution to authorize the mayor or city manager to enter into a contract to sell real estate for highway purposes and to transfer ownership of real property from the city of Little Rock, Arkansas to the Arkansas Department of Transportation and for the purposes. A resolution to create the Heights Temporary Entertainment District for 3 days starting September 16th, 2021, October 21st, 2021, and November 18th, 2021, and for the purposes. A resolution to approve the amended bylaws of the Little Rock Land Bank Commission and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a contract with the Arkansas Regional Commission in an amount not to exceed $114,983 for housing opportunities for persons with AIDS for 1 year period and for the purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to enter into a 6-month contract extension with 5 organizations to provide prevention, intervention, and treatment funds for positive prevention programs for 2021 and 2022 2021 through 2022, as endorsed by the Commission on Children, Youth, and Families, and for other purposes. A resolution authorizes the city manager to execute an amendment to the construction management services agreement with East Harding Incorporated for the Willie L. Hinton Neighborhood Resource Center Rehabilitation Project to approve the guaranteed maximum price of $907,819 for Phase 1 of the project and for other purposes. A resolution to certify local government endorsement of Cardinal Cycling Group located at 3321 Shenandoah Valley Drive, Little Rock, Arkansas, to participate in the Arkansas Tax Back as authorized by Arkansas Code Section 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003, and for the purposes. A resolution to certify a local government endorsement of L Rock Advanced Manufacturing LLC, Little Rock, Arkansas, to participate in the Arkansas Tax Back Program as authorized by Arkansas Code 15-4-2706D of the Consolidated Incentive Act of 2003, and for the purposes. That concludes the consent
Move
agenda.
for the adoption of the consent agenda.
Before we take the vote, there was a motion and a second. We have a question from Director Computers.
Mayor, I appreciate Tom getting us this is on number 5, getting us a red line copy of what the ambiguities were. I want to note that after our last discussion, that commissions and committees of this board job is to bring recommendations back to us on what to do. And it's our duty as elected officials to make a decision. And I think that wasn't part of this, but it was part of a discussion before, some unfortunate incidences afterwards. And I just want to make sure that we all understand, or at least that's my understanding of our role and responsibilities.
Thank you so much. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
I dare everything but number 7, Mayor.
Yes, sir. We'll move towards citizens communication.
Did he say he voted no for item 7?
Number
Yes.
7, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Jim Pfeiffer.
Thank you. I want to compliment the city board in looking at expanding bicycle paths in our city. I'm a biker myself. However, I'm also a business property owner on Kavanaugh, and parking is planned to be taken away, which will affect seniors and others that come to my business property. My property is just outside the first phase, but I understand it will be a part of the next phase. I'm going to defer. We're asking that this issue be brought before the full council and not enacted upon just routinely. I'm going to defer to Fran Carner for explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, directors of the City of Little Rock. My name is Frances Carter. I'm a resident of Kavanaugh. And I'd like to speak for a number of people, some of whom aren't here. Some are also.
Ms. Francis, if you could speak into the mic.
Can I take my mask down? I'm vaccinated.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
I smoke though, so whoever comes after me is gonna be in trouble. I'm representing a number of people. Some are merchants along Kavanaugh, many are residents, and some of them are not here today. We'd like to ask the city to delay implementing the Kavanaugh Bike Lane project, and that the Little Rock City Board of Directors take up the issue as a body instead of just passing it through. Furthermore, we ask the city to collect complete data and allow all residents and merchants ample time to assess the impacts from the loss of parking and the narrowing of the lanes on Kavanaugh, and voice legitimate concerns about the plan before proceeding. We are not opposed to bike lanes or alternative modes of transportation. Kavanaugh is already a shared bike lane. We oppose the implementation of the bike lane project because of the significant impact it will have on a majority who use Kavanaugh every day. Our concerns include, but are not limited to, the following. The data is incomplete. The project does not consider the current environment or conditions we experience and observe every day. The plan documents do not describe Kavanaugh accurately or completely, nor how risks to the current population will be mitigated. Curbside activity was considered for certain stakeholders who requested exemptions from the parking restrictions. However, roadside activity was not considered in the same way or given equivalent weight in other blocks. The business district is exempt from the new parking restrictions to accommodate the bike lanes, but parking in this section is already restricted to 2-hour limits. Loss of parking elsewhere will increase competition for these 2-hour spots and will, as well as available spots in the nearby lots. The city relied upon photographs from Google Maps Street View to extrapolate current parking use, and then calculated that using observations daily over several days over the last several months to come up with a median value, and then compared that to a total number of parking that would be available based on 20-foot spaces after the bike lanes are added. This is confusing. Most people won't look at this very closely. The city presented its finding. I just said this. The plan does not explain how traffic volumes, excessive speeds, or the frequency of accidents are mitigated, except with a prediction that the narrow lanes and new road markings will ameliorate these conditions. Frequency of accidents involving distracted or impaired drivers are not mitigated this way, not by lane markings and not by narrow roads. People still run into cars. People still run into bicyclists. Constraints on the Little Rock Police Department to
Ms. Francis, your time is up.
May I leave a elaboration that I've printed off for the board?
Yes, you can leave for our clerk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Mr. Moore?
Mayor, members of the board, I just want to clarify a few things. This is something that Director Webb has been very involved in. The city board, I don't know how many years ago, 5, 6 years ago, passed a complete street ordinance. And one of the questions that board member asked is the city going to have to comply with these requirements? Because the developers felt like they were somewhat stringent. So the reply was yes. So the city, as part of the resurfacing program, is about to resurface Kavanaugh from basically Markham to Van Buren. And because we have this ordinance on the books, we have to at least consider the complete street ordinance. So there's been no decisions made. Director Webb attended a meeting along with Public Works a few weeks ago. And so we'll have a lot of internal discussion. I'm very familiar with the area. I live right down the street. And so I know the parking issues there on Kavanaugh. So I just wanted to clarify, there's been no decisions made. This is just to comply with an ordinance that the city passed a few years ago to at least consider the impact of bike lanes when you're resurfacing or developing a new street.
Thank you so much. Well, now, Ms. Mary Jones.
Good evening, Mayor Scott, members and audience. My subject is mold in the building and elderly abuse at Parkview Tower. My name is Mary Jones. I live at Parkview Tower, also known as the retired housing for teachers. It's a very well-kept property cosmetically. The rent has been increased twice in 4 years for a new roof and elevator, and we have not received it as yet. Where there's water, there's mold. Water weakens the structure over time. We don't want to happen in Little Rock what happened in Florida, with the high rise, and they were warned. The manager is a convicted felon, which has been affiliated with the Florida Correction Center. Her mom was on the board. Two qualified, experienced applicants were overlooked for her. The manager has a problem if you stand up against her tyrant behavior, and you will be punished and made an example of. The United States Attorney General Merrick Garland's office has been informed of this, and others in Washington, D.C. Also has been informed is Governor Asa Hutchinson, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge, Senator Tom Cotton, Senator French Hill, DHS, and now the board of the city of Little Rock. Please help stop elderly abuse at Parkview Towers, whereas no more elders will die prematurely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. Ms. Sarah Hickman.
Hey, I'm Sarah Hickman, and I live on Kavanaugh, so I'm bringing up more of the Kavanaugh issue. I'm a very concerned citizen that opposes this bike lane plan because, and this is just an example of one issue that we have, that the proposal is only from Markham to Van Buren. And then you have the Sharrows and a big portion of that, which is in the kind of the proper downtown Hillcrest. And so it's working okay now. So we don't really understand why it can't just continue to work the way that it is. I don't know where people are going to originate. People are not going to, where does the plan originate and end? I mean, it obviously is not enough space to make a loop, which is generally what bikers want to do. And I've been a biker until I got injured. So down by my house, I live across from Hillcrest Hall. Hillcrest Hall in every event needs that parking spaces on both sides of the street. There are residents that in various apartments whose address is on Kavanaugh and whose designated parking is on Kavanaugh. They don't have any other place to park on Kavanaugh. So you're going to be displacing these residents and putting them on some side street. And I can't for the life of me figure out how you're going to fit all these people that live on Kavanaugh on side streets. That's going to really be an inconvenience to residents that live there. It's putting them away from their homes. And how would you all like to get out of your car and have to walk a couple of blocks to get to your house? That's really not the idea. So I think it will damage, people's ability to rent houses if you do that. Or go, sign up for apartments that you can't park on Kavanaugh. I think this whole plan should be reconsidered. And I think that's about all I want to say. Let me look through my notes. I'm sorry. We don't feel like when this plan was put together that we were properly informed about it. I think they went through the Residents Association, which is only about maybe 5% of the population down there. So we don't feel like as Hillcrest residents that we were properly informed. And we felt like with the meeting on top of the church parking lot, we didn't have an opportunity to have a question and answer session. There was no microphone there. We were just told to fill out pieces of paper. And we don't know what will become of those pieces of paper. I was told that Kathy Webb said that she was going to take this and pass it without going through the city board. So we definitely want it to be a part of what the city board considers, instead of just passing it through of Kathy Webb and her staff. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hickman. City Director Kathy Webb.
I know we typically don't respond, but if what I heard she said, if she said what I think she said, I want to clarify something,
Yes, ma'am.
if you will allow that.
Yes, ma'am.
I've gotten hundreds of emails, and I have encouraged people to fill out the form on the Public Works page on the city's website. because that's where people are supposed to make comments, and that is who is collecting the forms. I found out about it at the Hillcrest Residents Association meeting and have spent a lot of hours talking to people about this. I have not felt like it was handled very well at all. But I also have told people that because of complete streets, this was the process that I was told that we were going to follow, which is accurate information. But again, I do agree with the speakers that it has not been handled well. And I'll reserve any other comments for my work with Bruce and John as we continue to discuss this.
Thank you so much for sharing that feedback. And Mr. Moore, if you'll figure out a solution to some of the issues that Director Webb has shared.
Yes, I will. But one of the things that probably the biggest issue was, and we just don't normally do this, but because of the pandemic, we decided we're going to have a virtual meeting in the neighborhood, and or with the neighborhood association, and once I found out about it, once Director Webb found out about it, I said, well, we'll still have another meeting in person, and they were outside. And so I believe that, if I remember correctly, we were taking public comments until Friday, and then Public Works will probably need another week to just go through all of the comments, and then we will and decide on sort of recommendations. But we're very sensitive to, one, how it was handled in the beginning. But again, we've adjusted a lot during this pandemic, but we also did say we're going to have another meeting, but also continue to take comments.
So we'll be extending the commentary period?
It ends, I think, this Friday, and I think everyone knows that part. But and we've gotten a lot of comments. It's not the fact that we haven't had a lot of opinions about it, and I'm sure you all have gotten the emails. And but Public Works will, after Friday, will probably need a week to 10 days to just go through all of the comments, and then we'll sit down and then look at options.
Thank you so much. Seeing no other questions, I don't think we have any more commentary. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 11.
An ordinance to accept the Amazon Zuber annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, and for the purposes, first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to accept the Amazon Zuber annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to accept the Amazon Zuber annexation to add certain lands to the city of Little Rock, Arkansas, third and final reading.
We've now had 3 readings. Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. I want to take this time to just share appreciation to the city board. This annexation brings, as we know, this city worked hard to recruit Amazon, as they've not only selected Little Rock once, they've selected Little Rock twice. Once in Amazon 1, that's in Southwest Little Rock, near Ward 7, not too far from City Director B.J. Wyrick's home, where there's somewhere around roughly 500 to 650 workers that have already started. The second Amazon opens pretty soon. I believe they've already received their certificate of occupation, and our fire department has done their due diligence. And so officially is a part of the city of Little Rock, while we've already done the recruiting to get them here and located here. It's a big day. We know they're going to have close to 2,000 to 3,000 jobs on day one, and hopefully we'll see that double by the end of the fall. But this is a great significant and historic stride to have this caliber of a company that's not only innovative and dynamic, but it's also truly a high wage and high salary company that's coming to the city of Little Rock. And so this is a big day for the city of Little Rock, and it's because of the members of the city board and our economic development partners as we all work together to bring jobs to our city, and it's a big day. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number 12.
An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 17,310 from November the 7th, 1996, to expand the number of commissioners on the Board of Commissioners for Pecan Lake Recreational Improvement District Number 4, to name 2 new commissioners to the board, to declare an emergency and for the purposes, first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 17,310 to expand the number of commissioners on the Board of Commissioners for the Pecan Lake Recreational Improvement District Number 4, to name 2 new commissioners to the board, to declare an emergency, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Third reading.
An ordinance to amend Little Rock, Arkansas, ordinance number 17,310 to expand the number of commissioners on the Board of Commissioners for Pecan Lakes and Recreational Improvement District Number 4, to name 2 new commissioners to the board, to declare an emergency, third and final reading.
We've now had 3 readings. Are there any questions or concerns? Any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Madam Clerk, if you would, please read item number, thank you so much, Mr. Moore. We also have an emergency clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it.
I didn't.
Let me first now open the public hearing for item number 13. Madam Clerk, would you please read the item?
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a Port Authority revenue bond, to authorize the sale of the bond and the execution of a bond purchase agreement and a construction mortgage security agreement and fixture filling, to prescribe other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency and for the purposes, first reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Excuse me. Excuse me. There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Second reading.
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a Port Authority revenue bond, to authorize the sale of the bond and the execution of a bond purchase agreement and a construction mortgage security agreement and fixture filing, to prescribe other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency, second reading.
Move to suspend the rules and place on third and final reading.
Second.
There's a motion second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed, please say nay. Third reading.
An ordinance to authorize the issuance of a Port Authority revenue bond, to authorize the sale of the bond and the execution of a bond purchase agreement and a construction mortgage security agreement and fixture filing, to prescribe other matters relating thereto, to declare an emergency, third and final reading.
We'll now close this hearing. Are there any questions? Any questions? We've had 3 readings. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. There's an emergency clause. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Director Phillips, is there a motion for executive session?
Mayor, I have my hand up.
Director Wright?
Before we go into executive session, I wanted to once again bring up the Capitol Hills Boulevard area. I'm continuing to get emails. Mr. Carpenter, I forwarded you the one where they quoted the statute, and which I had previously raised some time ago, and nothing was ever done about that. So I just wanted to see if you can have something in writing for me by Friday, and we can share that with that neighborhood out there so that they know what the Little Rock Police Department can do in regards to the state statute and our ordinance with regards to the loud noise and so forth. And Mayor Scott, I did forward information regarding some possible code violations, cars that are not tagged, possibly not running, all of these things that they want to see addressed. And I did speak with Mr. Honeywell, and he says he's attempting to schedule a site visit so that everybody will be on the same page with what we're going to do with the traffic calming devices, the speed humps, or whatever they're going to do, and to try to alleviate the donuts and all of that. So I just wanted to let them know that I am continuing to raise this issue until we get it resolved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mayor, before we move, before I make the motion to go to executive session, I see at the bottom of our agenda that we have a different meeting date. May want to announce that before we go to executive session.
Mr. Moore?
Our agenda session for next week will be on Monday, September 13th at 4 o'clock, due to the election day on the 14th. So we'll meet here on the 13th at 4 o'clock.
And with that, I move to go to executive session.
And before we go, I just also want to announce, I'll get the date, but we do have a few, we actually, this coming Saturday, we have both from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. We have a dumpster day event. We've done this before. We did it last year in the middle of the pandemic for members of Ward 7 and Ward 2 requested that. They made that second request. Well, they've done it before and they made another request. That'll happen from 8 a.m. to noon on this Saturday. And then at 1 o'clock, there will be a vaccination clinic at Southwest Community Center as well. So a lot of things going on at Southwest Little Rock Community Center. Again, 8 a.m. to noon is a dumpster day event. We'll get a press release out here shortly to have with more information for members of the board to share. This is particularly for wards 2 and 7. So while clearly we're not going to turn folks away from wards 1, from wards 3, 6, 7, and 4 and 5, but this is something that the Southwest Little Rock Neighborhood Association's requested for wards 2 and 7. And then from 1 o'clock to I believe 5 p.m. will be a vaccination clinic at Southwest Little Rock Community Center as well. And also, Mr. Moore, would you briefly share some information about today's press conference with the incentives?
Yes, sir. I think the board, this board passed as far as the first round of recovery money, $700,000 for incentives to vaccinate. So that will happen this Saturday. It will be our first event where individuals will be able to either get a $50 gift card, or if you show that you have you've already been vaccinated and you come to get the second shot, then you'll get $100. U.S. Bank is the bank that we have gone with through an RFP process, and we'll be bringing that forward at our next meeting. But I'm very excited, again, to try to offer incentives to Little Rock residents to get vaccinated. So we'll have a lot of staff there on Saturday, and the PR group is working real hard to get the word out. Director Arcat has a whole lot of flyers that she's passing out, and so hopefully, I think in this board was very clear that we want to provide incentives to Little Rock residents to get vaccinated, and so that'll start this Saturday.
Director Computers?
Well, nothing ever happens without a group effort, but the quarantine, the effort this week to try to vaccinate people is extraordinarily important. Just so you know, it looks like right now the number of new cases and hospitalizations have somewhat plateaued. It differs from last winter where we didn't really have a true plateau. It went up and then it started coming down pretty quickly. The hard part about this is the number of kids that are getting this problem. And in the Little Rock Public Schools, and I have no idea about private schools, but today there were 16 positive cases and 51 people that had to be quarantined. And this is a fairly consistent number that we see. So getting people vaccinated, both adults and young people that can be vaccinated, is extraordinarily important. And the last thing is that the city has helped, St. Vincent's has helped with this, but the person who really has gone above and beyond is Joan Adcock in trying to get this done. So we owe her a real vote of thanks for all she's done to try to help save people and save lives. So thank you, Joan.
Thank you so much, Director Pierce. And then one more final kudo. We said this earlier today in an earlier meeting, but just wanted to take time to recognize Director Kevin Howard, his team, specifically Ms. Tracy Shine and Mrs. Ross, and Matt and Nathan Burks with emergency management, and many, many others that have worked to process the hotel vouchers for Hurricane Ida representatives. I believe we helped somewhere close to 600 evacuees in a short amount of time, and it definitely demonstrated how swift we can be to help those in need with those vouchers. And so we were very grateful to do that and work through that process. But true big ups goes to housing neighborhood programs. So members of the board, please know that your housing neighborhood programs team and the entire team, along with emergency management, really worked hard to get that done. We've had a motion. Is there a second to go to executive session?
Second.
There's no second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. We'll go into executive session.